Yesterday, I took a yoga class, and the teacher's theme was all about life happens in the margins or life happens in the spaces. And I have so many thoughts on this. I'm just going to do more of a riff style episode based on the inspiration that I got from that class. That class was so good. I'm so grateful that I got to take that class, and this whole idea of creating space and creating margin. And I think that this feels really good to do this. And it's so important for doing really good work in the world. And I think it's a really important thing to be framing out when you're working on accomplishing big things. This idea of creating space, of having margin. We all want margin in our business and our lives, especially yoga teachers. We want time to wander around, stare at the trees, dream, look at the sky, and it just feels good. But it's so essential as well. I think if we're going to survive the AI onslaught, we need to be real people with real thoughts and real experiences and real grounding and connection. And one of the ways to have that happen is to make space in our day to not just be talking to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, but being a human out in the world and daydreaming and looking at the clouds. So I think that it's really important, especially as we have more and more of what everyone's calling a trust recession. We're now wondering what's AI, what's real, what's not real, what am I seeing online that I can trust? And people trust things less and less and less. And so to stand out, we have to be authentic and we have to offer something that is actually really meaningful to other people. And I think as yoga people, we know when something clicks. We know when somebody's kind of in the pocket of some current that is tapping into something bigger or more meaningful than the day-to-day life. This is what happens when we take yoga classes from our favorite yoga teachers. They're tapped into something and they're offering up an energy, whether it feels light and fun or whether it feels deep and insightful or just helpful or kind. They're tapped into some current that goes beyond the way they're talking about the poses or even the dharma they're offering up. They're tapped in. And those are the things that are going to survive as AI is able to create music or able to make a beautiful image or able to post on Instagram for us or whatever. There's still something that we know that we can feel intuitively is something we want to be part of and tapped into a deeper current, a current we want to be that is rich and raw and real and insightful and meaningful. I hope this is making sense. There's if it's not, just think about your favorite yoga class. There was something tangible there that makes it better than if some random person delivered the exact same class, not your favorite yoga teacher. This is what I mean. It's a riff episode. So we need to be able to tap into those deeper currents. And really, it's creative. It's the same process of getting in the flow as artists. I know this from years of painting and also having a dance background. I used to run a dance company in Austin, Texas. It was super fun. I still do a little bit of it every now and then. But anyway, what we do as yoga teachers is creative. And so we have to make space and margin in our lives for creativity, even if it's designing a new sequencing system for our chair yoga clients, or maybe we're thinking of a new online course we can offer, or maybe we're thinking about a private yoga client who's having a lot of trouble with their left knee, and we're just trying to dream up how we can help them with it. What helps is the same as what artists do. Stare at the wall for a while. Dream. Make space in your day to do very little at all, even though It's insanely productive. I love the idea of yoga teachers always being artists. We are essentially artists. I think that is so true. And that is why yoga is so transformational, because there's this essence that goes beyond. We aren't just coldly delivering, this is how you move your body. Of course, maybe you've taken some yoga classes like that, and we usually don't go back to those yoga classes. We go back to the yoga classes that have this extra something, this extra pizzazz. And that's the same thing that makes art so great. It's like the same person can do the same exact painting of a vase, but one has this amazing wow factor just because. And it's not technical. It's not the kind of paints they used. It's not because they've mastered perspective or whatever. It's that extra factor. And I know that yoga teachers have this too. So I love the idea that we're creative. This is why you can't just say we're like physical therapists. We're different than physical therapists. And so if we are in a creative process, we have to make space for the creative process. Like my yoga teacher yesterday was saying, life happens in the margins. Life happens in the extra space. So my recommendation to you could start tomorrow. Plan some time in your week to do very little at all. Give yourself some margin for creativity, really. This could look like a walk. This could look like time for you to be in a really long shavasana. Maybe you give yourself a 15-minute shavasana in silence at least once a week. I know that works for me. This could be going to your favorite park. This could be really taking some time to be with your cat. But it's like, just give yourself some margin and honor this as really, really, really important time. I think this also helps us put our head down and do what we're here to uniquely do, which is so important as the internet gets more noisy. There's so much out there that can draw our attention, especially when we're building businesses. We start to look at the competition or what are other people doing? Why is that Instagram post working better for my competitor than the way that I posted something in a similar fashion? We can start to get into a really, it can be really clutter. It can be a lot of clutter. So, and now there's so many people who, instead of thinking their own thoughts, we're just typing into ChatGPT. I have to say that sometimes I am at fault for that, and I have to remind myself to use my own brain. But if we're in a creative space, it's really important. Like, we can use AI when we're doing technical things, or like add these numbers together for me or whatever. Scour the internet for this information. But if we're building these sustainable careers that are essentially creative careers, we need this space. So my offering to you is find a way to add space and margin into your week. Maybe it's every day. Maybe you already do this, so you can feel like, yes, this is great for me and the future of my business and my work life. Hooray. And this can really help you put your head down and carve out your unique path and what you uniquely are positioned to offer the world, which is essential to standing out in such a crowded marketplace. And it will feel good to you too. I hope this is inspiring. I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the comments. It'll make my day. Happy day to you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Gift Led. If you would like an opportunity to connect with other yoga teachers and have live discussions about things like building confidence as a yoga teacher, or how to build sustainable pay in your yoga career, or what does yoga philosophy say about our role as leaders, We have a group that meets the last Thursday of every month. It's intentionally small and it's a chance for us to connect over Zoom and get to have discussions on these topics. I always teach a little bit so that you get a little information, but it's really heavily weighted towards getting to have a discussion as a group of yoga teachers. I know that the path to being a yoga teacher, especially when it's a meaningful part of your work life, can sometimes feel lonely. And that is why I created the Yoga Teacher Circle. If you're interested in this, it's currently still free to join. There's a link below. Please join us if you wish. Spots are always limited, so once they're full, they're full. But grab a spot for next month's discussion if it feels like it would be useful to you. Hope to see you there.